Hello and welcome back to day number 24 or 24 ways or the 24th way to get started in real estate investing. Hard to believe we're just about done with this month. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you have not already. And there will be 6 additional videos as we conclude this month for Financial Literacy Month for my video series of 30 ways to get started in real estate investing. Now, yesterday we had talked a little bit about self-storage with the 4Ds: death, divorce, dislocation, and downsizing. And this is kind of a similar play on the self-storage, but this is more geared towards the business or commercial market. And what it comes down to is simply a warehouse. And typically this is just going to be a very large building, maybe with some racks in there. Obviously, you're going to have some workers, but you might hear the term distribution center. Maybe Amazon is opening a new distribution center, wherever the case may be. I know one's currently being constructed in Sioux Falls, South Dakota right now. And Amazon, as they continue to grow and expand, they need more space to store all the goods and services they sell. And as it's stored there, then ship out to the individual customers once they place their Amazon Prime orders. Now, an interesting thing you might not know, even with the growth of Amazon, the growth of Wayfair, even Walmart, Target, some other traditional retail stores that are getting more into the online space, where people can, shop from their phones, their computers, even their TVs. Only about 13% of all retail sales is online now. The rest of it is still people walking into a store and picking up a item or food or whatever the case may be off the shelf, paying for their purchases and going out to their car and driving home. So there's still a lot of growth in the online marketplace, whether it's Amazon or maybe another disruptor will come about. But regardless, whether it's a Walmart, a Target, an Amazon, here locally, a Runnings, whatever the case may be, all these places essentially need a place to store all their goods. Just doesn't make sense to have, pallets and pallets of one product in the local Walmart, even in a Sam's Club. They still have a distribution center where it's kind of a central point that the manufacturers ship their product to. And then from the distribution center, either it goes direct to the consumer, like the Amazon fulfillment centers, or to an end retail store, whether it's a Walmart or Runnings or Target, for instance. All those places need a warehouse to store their stuff. Now, you can just simply Google warehouse or warehouse syndication. Industrial syndication might be another term you can Google, but basically this is a self-storage method to get started in real estate investing that, is a little bit more hands-off. Obviously, again, there's not people living here. There's not the tenants, toilet, trash, and termites that you have to deal with as a traditional landlord. The warehouse is basically just a self-storage on steroids, as it's a distribution center for the large retail companies as they move product from the end manufacturers to the end consumers or the end retail store where it's on the shelves. Again, like I said, only about 13% of retail sales currently are done solely online. The rest of it's from a retail store. And whether it's online or whether it's in a retail, companies still need a place to store all those products and goods. Might have heard the phrase just-in-time ordering. That's been kind of growing in popularity the last couple of decades, where, long story short, they have all these fancy algorithms that company ABC determines they sell, X number of widgets within a given day, a given week, a given month. And they have these peaks during the holidays and peaks during these areas that more people's birthdays might fall on. So in their infinite wisdom, long ago, they came up with this phrase, just in time ordering, where basically they said, all right, we're going to have 24 widgets go to the distribution center, and then 24 widgets go out of the distribution immediately following to keep up with the orders. And we're just going to have this perfect fluid stream of goods going from the manufacturers to the distribution centers and out to the consumers. On paper, this works very well. In theory, this works very well. In real life, and especially when disaster hits, like we found with the pandemic, this doesn't work as well now. You might have been hearing in the news about the large chip shortage. About 80% of computer chips are manufactured in a tiny island nation of Taiwan, looking in Central Asia. And obviously, when we have disruptors in the supply chain, whether we have lockdowns from the pandemic, supply chain gridlocks, shipping containers can't get to the end docks, can't get to the distribution centers, can't get to the warehouse, can't get to the end user. Starts with a huge bottleneck. So everything from washers, dryers, fridges, computers, PS5s, new pickups, new cars, pretty much anything that has a computer chip now is on back order, and there's a very limited supply out there. So we've been starting to see more and more retail establishments, more businesses. They're starting to realize, we're losing a lot of business if this flow gets cut off and we only have a 24-day supply, a 20-day supply, whatever the case may be. We're going to start losing out on orders. We're going to have back orders and not be able to fulfill all the goods and services that our customers need. So I wouldn't be surprised in the next couple of years, we start seeing more of a growth in warehousing. Like I mentioned earlier, we're starting to see a lot of repurposing of existing buildings. Shopping malls, unfortunately, are kind of going on the downhill, and some shopping malls are being converted into living space. But I wouldn't be surprised to see more retail spaces, whether it's the next Shopko or the next Pomida ends up going under, that there's empty retail establishments, warehouses that end up being used as distribution centers for manufacturers, everything from computer chips to vehicles to computers, where the supplier is going to say, let's just warehouse a few more of these things. Obviously, if it's a perishable item, you can't store strawberries, for an infinite amount of time. But, for packaged goods and services, something that's non-perishable, maybe it would make sense just to store a little bit more in-house, have in our supply chain, work through those supply chain bottlenecks, not rely on this just-in-time ordering that's on paper looked really good until a worldwide pandemic hit us. And, maybe have a couple warehouses full of goods and services to have on hand. So if there is any disruptions, we kind of have a plan B in place so that we can meet our needs of our customers and not be so reliant on a global supply chain that one little disruptor causes all these delays that we're still dealing with here in early 2022. And some industry analysis are saying we might not have a fully functioning or smooth running global supply chain for a couple of years as we work through all these bottlenecks. So in conclusion, just another way to get started in real estate investing. We're starting to see more and more syndications where instead of a residential play or like a mobile home, little tidbit on another video coming here soon, but syndications that are more in the residential space. Might see more syndications, more repurposing of existing buildings, as well as construction of new buildings, where it's basically a warehousing of goods that, again, maybe through a public or a private REIT, through a syndication, or maybe if you have the funds and look at a partnership, could build a warehouse of some sort that can be used as a distribution center that you rent out to an existing manufacturer or in the existing retail establishment, as I think the desire for space to not be as reliant on all the choke points, if you will, in a global supply chain, and ease that burden and be able to get out goods and services on a timely manner. So in conclusion, warehousing is another way that you can get started in real estate investing. Be sure to hit that subscribe button, as we'll be back to you tomorrow with another way in the commercial, residential investing space that you may not have heard of before, but I'll just give a little tidbit. It is highly reliant and determined by what's called the silver tsunami. I'll just leave that with you. Be sure to hit subscribe so you see tomorrow's video on what that asset class is. Take care.